What up, nerds? Welcome back to The Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie Smith, and today on the channel, I'm going to talk to you about an SPFBO 9 finalist that I just finished reading last night. This book is so difficult to talk about, to describe. When I went to write my review, I had the hardest time. It took me over 2 hours. I loved everything about this book, but I couldn't figure out how to talk about it, how to tell you why I love this book so much. This video may be a bit of a mess. I'm going to do my best. The book that I love that is at the center of all this, The WICKWIRE Watch by Jacquelyn Hagen, the first book in the Riverfall Chronicles. I accepted this book for review from the author back in December of 2022. This was even before it was entered into this year's SPFBO competition. A couple of weeks ago, I saw the author shared on Instagram that this book, the two after it, the audiobooks were on sale on Chirp. I snapped all 3 of them up. I'm so glad that I did. The way it ended, I needed book 2 immediately, and now I have it. The audiobook is also the way to go. Wayne Farrell is the audiobook narrator. This was my first time listening to a book that Wayne has narrated, and I am a fan, huge fan. He has the perfect accent to match the Victorian style of this story, which is the first thing that I fell in love with reading this book, was the writing style. The best word I could come up with was timeless. I believe that if someone picks this book up and reads it in 30 years, they're still going to find the prose beautiful and a pleasure to read. The next thing that I fell in love with about this book were the characters, beginning with our main character, Mr. Inkwell Featherfield. This little scamp, y'all, he is an orphan boy, a very clever orphan boy who scrapes out a living, divesting other people of their valuables. When he gets caught, he says, "Hey, I'm just helping you learn to take better care of your stuff." Ink's inability to resist shiny things, like the little raccoon that he is, he picks something up that either contains magic or has some type of magic enchantment on it, and all of a sudden he is in mortal danger. Ink finds some unlikely help by a group of folks who live on a floating island. Oh my gosh. That leads into the world building and the atmosphere. Also the characters, because the characters that live on this village, on this island, my gosh, y'all, this is the found family trope done so well. I will tell you, it is a bit slow moving in this section of the story. It's a very cozy fantasy slice of life feel. The beginning opens up with a murder mystery, but when we get into this section of the story, which is the majority of the book, it moves along at a much slower pace. All of the characters are introduced, they're developed, you are falling in love with all of these people. You know who they all are, where they live, what they do, and how this island is self-sufficient. And why, how it works. Jacquelyn Hagen just did an exceptional job building this world out. Hagen also uses this atmosphere, this world building, to introduce the darker side of this story, namely in these ghost beings called specters. The specters were once mortal, but they were filled with so much bitterness and hate when they died that they can't move on. They've stayed behind because they want to inflict that pain on other people. So let's recap here. We've got fantasy, we have slice of life, we've got horror, we've got murder mystery thriller. With the whole island, we've got steampunk, science fiction. I mean, it's everything. It's the kitchen sink. For months now, I've been watching all of my friends get to read this book. They've blazed ahead and read the other 2 books in the series. Everyone has spoken highly of it. It's a finalist for this year's SPFBO. I see why. I see why. I understand and can validate everyone who has read this book before me that loved it It is worth picking up. I did read somewhere the author wrote, it might have even been in the acknowledgments, that she's been working on this series for 12 years or more. She definitely used that time to perfect and hone the story. I cannot wait to see what happens next. The way this one ending, I mean, it wasn't a cliffhanger, but it was a cliffhanger. My advice is to read this book, but just go ahead and get the second book because you're gonna want to go right into it. That is the best that I can do for this one. I hope it's not too much of a mess. I hope I was able to give you enough information for you to say, yes, this is a book that I know I need to read. It belongs on my TBR. Just could not recommend enough, especially the audiobook. Wayne Farrell is just absolutely amazing. So there you have it, my friends. My experience reading The WICKWIRE Watch by Jacquelyn Hagen. Down in the description below, I will have a link to the book so you can read the full book description. You can pick up a copy if you like. My non-spoiler written review will be down there as well. I'll have a link to where you can find the author's website so you can read and learn more about her. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.